everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Brothers, Same Mother. Of course, it's Sheik. We got AJ over there as well. Another interesting summer day, but the lull is starting to come to an end because some summer camp, training camp, is only a few weeks away. Actually, I think Eagles training camp unofficially begins in about 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, 62 days until the season starts.
Right. Yep. Not the exact number there.
Yes, Kelsey. It's a Kelsey. Kelsey days away.
So with that being said, I decided to actually, for the first time in a while, watch NFL Network. And they interviewed Lane Johnson. They're going around the league. But they had posed an interesting question that I want to pose to you.
Okay.
And that's that there are 7 rookie coaches this year. Okay. Do you think that at the end of the year, Nick Sirianni will be considered the most successful of that group for his first season?
Ooh.
That's a loaded question because you could be most successful without the best record.
Do you have because do you have right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I can only think of 2 coaches off the top of my head that are new.
So let's see if I can do this. So there's 7 total. Nick's obviously one. Robert Saleh with the Jets.
Okay.
Arthur Smith
with the Falcons. Yeah, Sirianni and Smith were the only 2 I could think of off the dome for some reason.
Dan Campbell with the Lions.
Okay.
Brandon, I want to say Brandon Stokely, but it's something like that. I know Brandon Stokely was the player, but Brandon
right.
With the Chargers. We got the dude, Culley, that's with the Texans. And there's one more than how could I forget? Urban Meyer with the Jaguars. That's your 7.
Okay, so I'm not trying to sound like a homer, but out of all those teams and all those new coaches, Nick Sirianni, when healthy, has the best offensive and defensive line amongst all those teams. So yes, he could be the most successful. Once again, when healthy. You compare those offensive lines.
Yeah. I would think the only person that might be considered to have kind of a better year when it's all said and done might be the coach of the Chargers. Just because even though the Chargers are in the same division as the Raiders and the Chiefs and, a Broncos team that might end up with Aaron Rodgers, we'll see where that goes. He's a young guy with a very talented team. I will say when you look at those 7 names, with Atlanta losing Julio Jones, and of course the Jets and Jaguars starting rookie QBs, and the Eagles might have the most talent on that roster out of the 7.
Yeah, and like I said, the most important aspect of it is in the trenches. Like, when healthy, this is arguably, even with Mailata, who I'm 95% sure is going to beat out Dillard. Even with Mailata, as good as he played last year in spurts, he struggled at times, but in spurts, with the rest of those guys on there, you have a top 5 offensive line in the league, not just in the NFC, in the league. So that can help with a lot of things. Now, I would agree with you with the Chargers guy because their defensive line is decent, right? And they have a quarterback that can sling it. You know what I mean? But once again, offensive line, that kid.
Brandon Staley's his name, not Stokely. That was bothering me.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to have to say Nick, has the opportunity.
I will say I think the difference with – and Nick obviously has an opportunity. The thing with the Chargers is I feel that Justin Herbert had his coming out party last year, and people are going to key in on him. In the offseason, people will catch up to stuff. I feel something's caught up to Kyler Murray. You got that sophomore slump, so to speak. Whereas, yes, Hurts would be a sophomore as well. But I don't know if people are keying in on Jalen Hurts and stopping Jalen Hurts, which actually leads me to my next question. There was another article that was done about most underrated teams in the NFL.
Mhm.
And they didn't really rank them. They named 4, but the Eagles were one of the 4. Do you think the Eagles might be one of the top 4 or top 3 most underrated teams in the NFL right now?
Man, that's tough. Just because, okay, I
And I
wouldn't say
feel like,
yes.
by the way, just to give you some context, I feel this article was doing it as in a sense of where they could end up as opposed to where everybody's picking them. Because the
I
other
mean,
teams, I'll give you the other teams, were the Colts, the Vikings, and the Broncos.
well, I'm going to say, I mean, no, because I want to disagree. I want to say no. I'm not going to say underrated because I think Vegas almost has them right where. I mean, they have them between 6 to 9 wins.
6.5 is the over-under.
Yeah, 6.5, but with the potential of winning 9. So you get what I'm saying? So I have them right there, 6.5, 7 wins. Like,
Right. And, it's and that's the thing. When you go like Vegas, okay, I think that, and it's hard because this is, until training camp happens, you don't really hear people talk about, like, I haven't heard any analysis about teams rolling over other teams, period. Not just with Philly. Where I would say they might be underrated is if you start hearing before the season starts that, and I mean from analysts, I'm not talking from fans, because of course the fans, that the
mhm.
Cowboys are going to roll over them, or the Giants, or the Washington football team, or some of these other teams. I think the Eagles are going to be competitive in almost all their games, but I haven't heard that they wouldn't be from anybody either, though.
I mean, do you want to know where I think they're underrated? Is in their own hometown. Like nationally, a lot of teams think that 7 wins. Here, I mean, it's a split. You have guys like Glenn McNow and Ray Diddy and Ike Reese who are kind of along with us. Hey, 7 wins, 7 wins, competitive, 8 wins. But then you got the other narrative. Oh, this is going to be a terrible team. This is going to be blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
I mean, listen, I feel like,
You got the John Richies who think it's going to be a miracle if we win 4 fucking games this
but then you also have the Ike Reese's partner, I forget his name, who says that if they win less
year.
than if they win less than 12 games, it's a disappointment. Like, you have 40% of the fan base that either,
That's outrageous. That's just
but
outrageous.
you do have a more growing thing that if they don't win 10 or 11 games, at least with this roster, that they should fire Sirianni right away. And it's a small
But
fan
that's
base, but it's a growing fan base that feels that way. Just like there's a growing fan base that feels we win more than 4 games, it's a miracle. I would say the majority of fans, I think, are like us, between 6 to 8 wins.
and that's what I'm saying. Like you listen, you have those ones that are the gloom and dooms, right? That like we said, there's no way this team wins 4 games. And if they win 4, 2 of them will be my luck, right? And then you got the Johnny Markses, who and some of these other fans that are very, very hopeful. Because there are fans every year think that we're going to be in the playoffs.
Sure, yeah. The fans
You
are
know what
going
I
to
mean?
win the Super Bowl every year. Yeah.
Yes, right. And Johnny Marks, those are the ones that Johnny Marks is trying to beat. Oh, if it's 12, it's a disappointment.
You just
But
you just wanted to be
that's what
different.
right, and that's why I think like I the sensible ones of us, and there's a small part where and this is going to sound crazy, right? There's a small part of me that understands. I don't feel it, but understand why some of these 11 and 12 game people are. And hear me out real quick. The
Sure.
reason why I say that because this was a team last year who was picked to win 10 and 11 games, even by you and I. We were going to be a playoff team. We were a playoff team last year in our minds. Now, we know how last year went. No reason to go into that. But with a team that has a sense of urgency. Yeah, you got the rookie coaches and all that stuff, but with a team that has a sense of urgency and actually top to bottom overall is a better roster when healthy, I can see why they feel that. So I can understand it. I don't agree with it. I can just slightly understand it.
I would say there's a better chance of this team finishing with 10 or more wins than there is with this team finishing with 4 or less.
I agree with you.
If you have to choose between the two, you know what I mean?
Yes.
With all that being said, we're being sensible but positive. Another article, I've been doing just a lot of just reading. It's the most boring week in sports, supposedly, you know? So I've been doing a lot of reading. They did an article, I think it was ESPN. They took every team and named somebody who would be the person on that team that could potentially be a first-time Pro Bowler. Okay. So put that in perspective. They picked 32 different players, one from each team. So with the Eagles, which I don't think it was a surprise, they picked Jalen Hurts. All the players to be a first-time Pro Bowler. And if you remember, I mean, Miles Sanders was like the third.
The alternate.
Yeah. So, and Lane has been a Pro Bowler. Brandon Brooks has been a Pro Bowler, So with all that being said, Brandon Graham's been a Pro Bowler. Fletcher Cox has been a Pro Bowler. My question isn't but if you want to touch on it, that's fine. Does Jalen Hurts have the biggest potential to be the first Pro Bowler on the Eagles? I will ask you that. I'll ask you that. Who do you agree with that Jalen Hurts has the best chance to be a first-time Pro Bowler on the Eagles if anyone was going to be a first-time Pro Bowler? But the other question I want to ask is, how likely do you think that Jalen Hurts might actually make the Pro Bowl this year for the NFC?
The first part of your question is no, I don't agree with that. I think Dallas Goedert will probably be the one to make his first
Good
Pro Bowl.
answer. I think a lot of people don't realize Goedert's never made a Pro Bowl.
Right. Goedert's good too. And he's actually a really good player.
You just say God is good.
Goedert is good. Goedert is
got religious for a second there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do I think, and what is the percentage? So Dak Prescott's already made it just because he has the third ball. He's made it just because he came back in his Cowboys.
Right. Unless
Tom Brady's made it. Only
go.
3 quarterbacks make it. So, and then.
Yeah, because here's the whole thing, and I'm going to go down the same thing that you were doing. Prescott even has an average season, he makes it. Brady, as long as he doesn't get hurt, he makes it. And you have to think Russell Wilson makes it, right? No matter what.
Russell, or there may be those that may, and coming up the rear, maybe a Matt Stafford.
Stafford, if they had, and that's the whole thing. Like, to me, when I ranked it, I said, okay.
If Aaron Rodgers ends up playing and staying
for Green Bay, of course. So those were my 5, and then I had a tie for Hurts and Kyler Murray.
I can see Hurts and Kyler Murray. Yeah.
Now here's the thing: I could see. I'm not at this point. I'm just not going to bet against Brady making it to the Super Bowl. So I could see him needing a replacement because if you're in the Super Bowl,
you don't think James Ash will take a chance?
No, and I don't have faith in Jared Goff leading the Lions to a miracle win either.
And neither with Cousins. We're talking about Pro Bowlers. That's what I'm saying.
Right. No, I think that here's normally what happens with quarterbacks. You have your stalwarts, but if there is somebody who is a surprising team that didn't make the playoffs last year and that is making noise, usually that QB makes the Pro Bowl, even if it's as an alternate. And I think that either Hurts or Murray as an alternate, okay, not as I think if you had to bet on, all right, out of your big 3, Hurts and Murray probably have the best chance. But once again, I'm talking about the sixth spot, because I think I think the Rams are going to have a really good season, a good productive season to the point where Matt Stafford makes it. He might even make it over Russell Wilson just because Russell Wilson fatigue. And like you said, if Aaron Rodgers plays, I don't see how he doesn't make it. like, so.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see. So I'm gonna say 25% chance. Like
You
you
had
said,
higher than
after
me. I had 20.
yeah, so 25%. Yeah.
And the final question I have kind of for the Eagles, and I'm just curious about this because I don't know if I ever really remembered this, but I don't know if I've ever remembered a team where an offensive lineman was the without a doubt leader of the squad. And
You
I
don't
think
remember a team?
a team where the offensive lineman was just without a doubt, he's the leader of the team.
Hmm.
He's the guy they talk to. He's the guy that answers the tough questions. He's the guy that's sticking up for people. And Lane
You know,
Johnson, without a doubt, to me, is the leader of this team right now. No knock against Hurts or anything like that. I'm just saying, as far as the guy that's kind of the veteran. And I think Hurts when we got to the end of the year.
I disagree with you on that.
You don't think Lane
I
Johnson's the leader of this team?
think he's a leader. I don't think he's the leader. I think he has the biggest mouth on the team. And he's the most um it's if anybody, maybe Kelsey.
I don't think so. Well, let me rephrase that. Okay, I don't know what's going on internally, so I'm going by a public perspective of who's the guy that's always doing the interviews, who's the guy that seems to be the media person and the person that is kind of like the team spokesperson to the public.
Okay, yeah,
So
then you
Kelsey
like
might be the leader of the squad internally, but when you think of and like I said,
the
no knock
one that's gonna sit there and be like debate you, like go back forth with you and talk to you. Like you said, the vocal leader,
right,
the
like
mouthpiece
before,
externally on the team. Yeah, I could see Lane being that.
like I would say that like even like during the Carson Wentz era, you could say it was Wentz, but it might be Malcolm Jenkins too. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
I feel last year was kind of Brandon Graham was the guy that kind of stepped up in that role. But this year it's shaping up. It seems like anytime you're hearing about something positive.
Well, I mean, even though he was hurt, it still could have. It was still. He got hurt late in the year. Was Rodney McLeod because he was the one that the team voted to be the Walter Payton Man of the Year. So
Sure, you can kind of go with that too. Last year was just such a mess.
yeah, it
Nothing
was.
against
Yeah,
the
that
time,
was
but yeah.
right,
But
right. It was just,
yeah.
yeah.
But like Lane Johnson, I mean, it seems like he's kind of being the defender. He's out there talking about how Sirianni has control of the locker room. He's the one that's out there raving about Devontae Smith. He's the one out there that is raving about Jalen Hurts. And if Lane Johnson actually decides to keep this role for the entire season of kind of being the not outside looking in leader of the team, do you think that that's an issue at all?
What do you mean?
If Lane Johnson is the main person that is the mouthpiece for the team, to the media and to the
I don't think it is. I think they're just used to Lane. Lane's always been kind of. Lane's never, even as from his rookie year on, he's never been one shy to speak his opinion or, you get what I'm saying? Like he's always giving them the sound bites. You know what I'm saying?
right. I mean,
Every year.
and it could just be that
He's
the
the one
past.
that he's the one that was the one that went and bought the dog mask during the Super Bowl run. So you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like he's
Well,
old. So he's not doing anything out of the ordinary that he hasn't done every year.
sure. I just think that you don't have anything else balancing it out at the moment. Now, I think part of that, and I'm hoping this is what it is, you don't hear from Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts is too busy walking the walk to do any talking. I feel like that guy's just constantly, which is great. And once again, like I said, it's not a knock on Hurts. I'm not saying Hurts is not a leader or doesn't have control of that team or anything like that. I've just noticed over the past month, whenever you hear anything quotable, good, bad, or indifferent, it's coming out of Lane. And it's not bad stuff. It's, once again, Sirianni has control of the locker room. What a great job Jalen Hurts is doing. I can't stop raving about Devontae Smith. Look at what he was talking about the corner, Zach McPherson. Zach McPherson, I think further along than people think. Like, Lane is kind of being almost a knucklehead when he spoke to the media. Like, you'd always say something crazy. You're like, dude, shut up. It seems like he's matured, and it seems like he's the main guy just at the moment. We're going
Right,
by, I mean,
right.
training camp
But
has.
it's kind of okay. So for a while, people outside of Philadelphia and inside Philadelphia tried to stick a microphone in Sirianni's face so they can make a basically almost bitch and complain locally and
Right,
nationally
right.
make fun about how he interviewed. And then he got better. And then he just faced competition, 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 competition. And then so yeah, he's boring. So they went to Hurts. Hurts is yeah.
It hurts. Is just working. Right.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah. Lane's like, yo, we're pissed. We're embarrassed about last year. That dude's
Very,
elite.
very good
That
point.
coach. So now they're like, oh shit, Lane, hey, reliable here. You know what I mean? So
I think though, if it stays that way throughout the whole season, I don't think that's a bad thing because once again, Hurts is too busy walking to talk, really, per se. Like,
I
5-pack of questions.
all right.
So we're gonna get into that, and I want to start with this. Obviously, we didn't have the Hall of Fame last year, the ceremony, and we're going to have kind of combined this year. Harold Carmichael would be part of it. Calvin Johnson, Charles Woodson, a bunch of key names. Someone just recently celebrated their 33rd birthday, and I'm curious to know, what do you think the chances are LeSean McCoy ends up at HOF?
Whew. I think
Because what I'm curious about, I think it's starting to grow the amount of people that don't remember the first half of his career.
because his off the field shit overshadowed it so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff with the Bills and the Bucks and the Chiefs, yeah.
Right. I think his first year with the Bills he did okay, but other than that he was
Right.
If he does make it, it'll be one of them ones where he's like super old.
So okay, so like the I forget what they call it, the committee,
Yeah, like it'll be way down the road.
like when I think of running backs who are about to retire or who have retired, that would be ahead of him. I mean, you got Adrian Peterson, right? He's a Hall of Famer. You got Frank Gore, who just tallied up so much. I don't know. I mean, the guy I think is the third leading rusher of all time, or something like that, or like the fourth. Like, so he has to make it. But is there anybody else that jumps out at you that you think is going to retire in the next 2 years or has retired already that would be ahead of LeSean McCoy? Maybe Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn probably get it.
And I think LeSean McCoy is actually better than Lynch. Just Lynch's teams made the Super Bowl where McCoy's didn't.
And he was the leader of that team, and he was the reason they went to the Super Bowl. It's not like it's like, hey, a running back has to go in every year. Like
true.
So there's so many other players. Like if I hate to beat this drum again, but if Donovan McNabb should go in before LeSean McCoy, so that's why I said. I mean, I'm not Brian, because Brian Westbrook and Shady are almost.
No, I think McCoy had better numbers, and I love Westbrook. Westbrook to me, to make a Philly comparison, is like Chase Utley. Great player, love him dearly. Ain't making Hall of Fame.
But what I'm saying is with Westbrook though, he was used different.
Right? Sure.
Like so, when you say, "Oh, he had better numbers," he was just used different.
Sure. No. I mean, that's absolutely correct. But
you know what I mean? So, but like you could argue that I personally felt that as a pure running back, I felt McCoy was better than Westbrook.
And I
but
think
overall, like catching, blocking, you know what I'm saying? Different things like you.
But
That's what
that's
balance is
internally with
about.
us. I mean, if you look at the national
And that's what I'm
aspect,
saying. But in the national aspect, Brian Westbrook was always a pro and you know, helped. Was the number one weapon for Donovan McNabb that went to 5 conference championship games. LeSean McCoy didn't play in any.
but
So,
Westbrook
but
was
I'm
never
saying nationally.
Westbrook was never considered the best running back in the league.
No. What I'm saying is he was he was the lead, he was the primary weapon on a team. I'm talking nationally on a team that went to 5 conference championships.
And I
How
think
many times did
nationally,
LeSean McCoy help his team advance to the playoffs? So you
I,
got to. Those are things that Hall of Famers get considered for.
I think though nationally people would say, and this is what keeps Donovan out. They made it to five national championships. Good God, 5 NFC championships based off the defense, which is not true. I'm talking about perception.
That's
Whereas
some of the perception. A lot of Donovan's issues, and the reason why I think he doesn't get in, is the simple fact that it seems like every year since he's retired, he's getting a DUI. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but he does. Unfortunately, he gets a DUI. He is very me. Um, and the drop off from when he was with Reed to where he wasn't was astronomical. Like, so then you could also make the thing was, oh, well, he was only a good quarterback because he was a Reed system.
I think the biggest problem when you look at Hall of Famers who are current, unless if you are above and beyond just incredible, IETO. If man, when you think of someone and the top 3 things that come up recently are non-football related, like I hate to say what Donovan is most known for, and it's a shame. What he's most known for is beef with TO and throwing up in the Super Bowl, and then it's DUIs.
There's DUI and being a goofball.
People forget that he had the best winning percentage from 2000 to 2010. Better than Brady, better than Manning. Like
For 10 straight years,
people,
from
you know,
2000 to 2007.
you know what I'm saying? Like that, and that's a shame. But to bring it back to McCoy, the only reason why I think McCoy might have a better chance of the Hall of Fame than let's say a McNabb is because if McCoy lays low, and he does have a bunch of highlight reel stuff, which is, and McCoy kind of had an attitude. I think the thing too is that Westbrook was, I won't say he was quiet, but he wasn't brash, which is a shame.
He was humble.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. He was humble. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's because you still got a lot of these old school dudes who do the voting. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, once again, if I were drafting and them two were on the board knowing the type of running backs they were, I probably would select just off talent with LeSean McCoy over Westbrook. But it's not that far off.
No. And it's not like you're going to go wrong with either pick.
Right.
Let me ask you something, just out of curiosity. This is a question too. So this week, the home run derby's happening. And I'm glad you reacted that way. I remember a time when the home run derby and the slam dunk competition and like the Pro Bowl and the quarterback skills competition, like they meant something. Like you actually would be like,
fun.
yo, the
quarterback.
Well, yeah, the quarterback skills competition is coming on this afternoon. Like,
right.
Is there anything, whether it's a skills competition or an exhibition, that you would watch at all at any point this year?
Nope.
That's crazy.
And it sucks because I never really. Okay, there's only a couple times where it was like the All-Star game meant some NBA wise, right? The game itself. And that was, with Magic in 91, when Magic announced he had AIDS, but he came back and played in the All-Star game. The Iverson one was that 2001. So you look at those ones that are that were fun, but overall, like you said, to piggyback, the 3-point contest and the slam dunk contest was like must see. That was the
Right. Yeah.
cooler talk. Um, and then nobody caring about the rookie stuff. And then like even like when they like back in the day when they used to do the skills competition, it was okay. Like the NFL was the least of it. It was mainly like the slam dunk 3-point with the NBA when it came to those type things, and the home run derby. The home run derby, you didn't like those of us that didn't. Even when I was a huge baseball fan, I really didn't watch the All-Star game, but I watched the home run derby.
Right. Right. And I mean, and here's the whole thing: like MLB All-Star Game was fun in the sense of it's usually a Tuesday, middle of the summertime. Probably ain't nothing else really on TV, a bunch of reruns. We're talking pre-Netflix, Amazon,
Yes.
era.
Nowadays,
Yeah,
you got all
so
kinds of shit dropping. You know what I
right.
mean?
So we're talking where everything was reruns in the 90s. Not to mention, like back then, you had baseball players that were either cool or they were captivating. Whether you're talking about Ken Griffey Jr. or Bonds or McGuire or Sosa, like Griffey was cool. He was just a cool dude, you know?
Right.
Now, like, I feel like baseball, and I love baseball, you know, but I gotta admit it's kind of hard to watch. And on top of that, like it's really nerdy. You know what I mean? I feel like baseball's on the same level with soccer right now.
Yeah.
And soccer's
Well,
trending up.
well, you take steroids out the game, and there's not 4 home runs a game. So.
It's when you, it ain't even that. It's when you either want to hit a home run or strike out. You take out, trying to hit a single, a double, or steal bases. I remember
Right.
it was how you knew a player was good. You check their batting average, their home runs, their RBIs, stolen bases. Now people are like, well, if you look at the wins above replacement and the launch angle and the velocity of the weight, man, too much. I need a
Yeah, that's
protractor
that.
to figure out if somebody's good.
Right. Yeah. That's that. That's the analytics shit.
Right. I think to me, I remember the slam dunk competition to me kind of went down to when Kobe came out and said that he didn't want to do it because he was too old, maybe next year, which is a real quote from Kobe, which I thought was hilarious.
Right.
But more so when the stars of the game didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, they're more worried about getting hurt and shit.
Right. I mean, the fact that LeBron didn't want to do it, Kobe didn't want to do it. Like the slam dunk competition usually between 8 people you never heard of. Same thing with the 3-point competition. And when you look at the Pro Bowl, like, yo, 1/4 of the squad don't even play.
Right.
And that's not counting the people who are in the Super Bowl. And then the home run derby. Once again, the home run derby, like, not for nothing. They have a weird thing where it's, you know, one against the other or whatever. But yo, like the cats in the home run derby right now, like this year, Ohtani is the big guy from Anaheim because he pitches and also he's a Babe Ruth type dude. But I mean, and I hate to say this, but because he's a foreigner and he's kind of an import, we ain't watched this dude go through any. It's not like a Mike Piazza or what we saw with Jimmy and Chase and Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
It's because it's the new generational athlete. They want to be friends. Like back in the day, and yes, I'm going to say this. This is my get off my lawn moment. Back in the day, you always wanted to beat the next guy, no matter what it was. Larry Bird would walk into the room and say, "Who's coming in second?" And it wasn't like it was like Larry Bird and a bunch. It was the known shooters in the league. Drexler, Jesus, Drexler, Jordan.
And Patrick Ewing was in a 3-point competition. Good God.
Dominique, all those guys, like they were the known flyers and airwalkers, and so they would go at each other. You know, the Larry Nance's, like those were the known dunkers. Like, you get what I'm saying? The home run derbies, it was the Piazzas and the Sosans and the McGuires and the Bonds, like the Griffeys, like they were battling each other because they was just like, yo, that's how, like, as fans, that's why it was entertaining because they was more about, because not only did they want to beat you on the field, they wanted to beat you one on one. Now everybody, let's sing Kumbaya. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings.
Well, I will say this, like for the NBA, I'm just talking the 3-point competition. Having Trae Young and Steph Curry in it last year, I hope the stuff like that continues. Hopefully we see some slam dunk stuff where, you actually see some high flyer. I think the thing is that the high flyers in the NBA are not the star players anymore.
Right.
You know,
Well, and honestly, there's only, I mean, there's only so much you can do anymore. I mean, you've had Blake Griffin jump over a fucking limo with Kenny Smith holding the ball and then catching it in the middle and dunking it.
but
Like,
that's the thing. You got to be creative. Like, we say that, and then always somebody pulls a rabbit out of that. You know what I mean?
right. But I'm just saying it's hard to stay tuned where you got like 6 dudes, right? And they all get 2 dunks for each and every one of them to give us something that we haven't seen. Like you said, there might pull a rabbit out of the hat.
But
You know what
I mean, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something you've never seen before. I'll give you one of the most famous dunks is Jordan jumping from the foul line, right?
Right.
Dr. J had did it 10 years prior. Just Jordan,
Yeah.
Dr. J's foot was on the line where Jordan was behind it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and Jordan, the way he did it, just with, it was great. But it's one of those things where I think the biggest thing is like you name the top 10 people in the NBA right now. I mean, whether it's LeBron or Durant or nobody, Embiid, like they ain't flying and dunking like that. You know what I mean?
No.
I
And they're
mean,
also and it's a different game too. It's more. That's why I think the 3-point contest would be more exciting because everybody's a 3-point shooter now. So
right. I think that though, like if you had like a Zion Williamson, if you had a Ja Morant in the slam dunk competition, those dudes that
yeah,
they're the first couple years, and like like the 3-point competition needs to be Trae Young and Luka Doncic and Steph Curry, and what I mean, like you need to have those superstars. Your slam dunk competition needs to be people where you're like, these are also people that could carry their squad, not
right,
just not the 12th man on the bench.
right.
And I have to agree with you. I don't think there's an exhibition that, and it's a shame because I used to be one of those people that loved watching the home run derby, that loved watching the slam dunk. Like we used to have slam dunk competition parties. I remember doing a party at the club where the club stopped to watch Iguodala versus Nate Robinson.
Right.
You know what I mean? With the big TV in there, like it was crazy.
Iguodala got ripped off, but anyway.
Yeah, big time. A grunt sports job that you would have wanted to do. And when I say grunt sports job, the ball boy or that for football or.
I'm glad you asked this because it might be the reason why you're asking this. I may even apply for it if it comes open. Is the fucking floor sweeper dude like the what gets up the wetness on the floor from the sweat and everything?
For the Sixers or like the basketball?
The basketball, they make $80K a year starting off.
So I found out that
Right, I'll be out there with my Swiffer.
The person that the person that holds it looks like almost like a leash on Sean McVay when he's running out there. That dude makes $100,000. Just
yeah, it's like the head coaches, like so they pull them back and make sure they don't cross like the 35 or whatever it case may be. Yeah.
I still think it would have been kind of cool. I was thinking more of as a kid to have been like a ball boy, like for the Phillies. I still think that would have been cool. I always thought it was funny. It doesn't look like it's fun though. Like they just look like they're super serious. The dudes that or the men or women that in tennis, like when a ball hits the net, grab the ball and then run back. And they're just like stoic. That doesn't look fun at all.
Now you sitting out there in that heat, and you got sprint and come back like you gotta do shuttle drill. No.
Right. But it's funny that was one of the things with the NBA. the people that get water on the sidelines for all the teams and stuff too. But it was interesting. I think that is a good one to kind of just be the person that wipes the floor, and you get
Yeah,
courtside tickets every game.
every game.
So it's youth football camp time. Everybody has a youth football camp. Name a player who you would have loved to go into their youth football camp.
Ooh.
Even though it would have been a little preachy, I think I would have loved to go into a Reggie White football camp.
Yeah, I was getting ready to see Reggie. Jerome Brown had one.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have gone to JB's.
I will give you one more just because I played lineman in high school. I think I would have really enjoyed if I had a chance to go to John Runyon's football camp.
Now, kind of what you said, since there's one I would have liked just I heard he talks mad trash when he had them was the Deion Sanders.
I was about to say, being that you were a corner, I'm surprised you didn't say Deion.
Yeah. But just as a kid, I was thinking about the camps that were actually had in Philly. And that's why I said, and I heard the story about like Jerome Brown would play with the kids and all that stuff. So
right.
But just as a person, like it's not like I would have went to Atlanta just to go to a football camp, but I would have liked to have been a part of this football camp.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not going back in time, but yeah, I mean, like to be able to do that, or
Speaking
like
of camps, I'm gonna be at one from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturday. So
right. I think that if I ever had any hands, I would have loved to go into the Jerry Rice camp, even though I heard that like kids that did that were super exhausted because he would just run drills. Okay, crazy.
Yeah. He was too serious. I wouldn't have did no.
So my final question, once again, 4 week, you're seeing a bunch of different articles out.
Mm-hmm.
If you could redesign any professional sports team's logo or uniforms, who would it be?
The Eagles.
You would redesign it?
I go back to the old school.
That's going back to an old uniform. So total redesign.
Oh shit.
So I'm not saying you have to have the design that you want, but for example, like if you wanted to say the Bucks, the current design sucks, and I hated the orange creamsicle. Like they just need a brand new.
I like the orange creamsicle. I hate to say it.
I did too, actually.
Well, in a way, it's redesigning it. Replace the football on that Eagles hand and put the Super Bowl trophy there.
Listen, I don't want to see no more Super Bowl 52 anything on their stuff.
You know what? Cleveland just
give them
like
something.
Just add a dog or something inside of that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's not really the Browns, like the dog Brown. It's
right.
Named after the dude, but damn, like you got the dog pound. So even if it's a fucking milk bone or some shit on the side of the helmet, like just like the Georgetown Bulldog, like how the Georgetown, like put that on the side.
Right, or just the kind of basset hound that they have for the Browns or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Browns, I never understood that like elf-looking troll dude that they used to have. They weren't on the, but
no idea.
Yeah, when I think about it, I really didn't have much of an answer for this one because it's easier to say, I'd love the Eagles to go back to Kelly Green, or I'd love the Phillies to go back to the powder blue. You know what I mean? A total redesign where you're like, yo, I just always hated this logo, or I just always hated this is a little different. But if I was going to redesign something just for the sake of doing something different, I think I'll take a shot at redesigning the Raiders logo. Because it really hasn't changed in like 60 years. What?
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
What? Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Well, no.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Not on air. Not on air.
I think I know where you're gonna go to. Oh man. I will say something else too. If I didn't want to redesign something, I redesigned the Philadelphia Flyers logo because I have no idea what the hell that logo is. I don't think anyone else does either.
The radio flyer from, I think.
Yeah. Ask anybody under 40 what the hell a radio flyer is and see if they know the answer without Googling. Right. Remember someone asked Ed Snyder what the hell is a flyer, and he said it's a champion. Of course that. It's like, well, all right. But on that note, that is our show. We'll be posting this, relatively soon. Can't wait for us to have some real stuff to talk about with training camp coming soon. Definitely enjoy the summer. Keep on staying safe out there. I know you've been posting some workout songs. I can say, I went to the gym twice today. I went once to do like some weightlifting, and then I went again to actually use the pool. The pool was the worst workout because I forgot I ain't been in a pool in like a year and a half. My shoulders are burning. You think this wouldn't really hurt you much, but no. But so I will start posting some of my workout songs as well. Anything else you want to add?
Football season's right around the corner. To these younger high school kids who did have a season last year, that are coming up. It's excitement in the air. Locally here, they're doing a lot of 7-on-7s with the skills and stuff, and actually throughout the summer. So that's definitely kind of dope. It just opened things up. I.e., like I said, I'm going to a campus, taking my son to a Towson football camp. So
Oh wow, when is that?
Saturday.
Townsend, Ohio?
Towson.
Oh, I thought you said
Towson,
town.
Maryland.
I thought you said Townsend,
Towson.
like over in Ohio. I was like, hey, what?
No, Towson.
Okay.
University of Towson. Towson University. So doing that Saturday. But but like I said, it's fun. Like it's back. Everything's coming back to normal, and it feels great. So, but don't go out there and be too stupid. So,
right. It's
act like you got some fucking sense, people.
Do you think they purposely didn't make Black Widow better than it could have been to make Captain Marvel look better in comparison?
It was better than Captain Marvel.
It was, but do you feel it was a good movie?
Yes.
Really?
It was a great movie. It was a great movie.
Really? I'm surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cool, but I'm also, when I say I thought it was cool compared to other Marvel movies.
Yeah. I love all the Marvel movies. Listen, I like every single Marvel movie of the MCU. Let me rephrase that.
Right.
The Edward Norton Incredible Hulk, I liked. It was but I liked it. It was okay.
I think it's safe to say that's the worst of the MCU movies, right?
The Edward Norton Hulk? Nah, I put that.
The Hulk movies.
I don't. The Eric Bana one, I don't even count.
Okay, yeah. So the Edward. Would you say the Edward Norton Hulk movie was better than any other movie in the MCU? Because I feel like that's the worst one.
People make that argument. I actually like that one better than the first Thor.
Really? The first Thor was okay. I like that better. I always thought that, to me, I could be forgetting one here, as far as enjoyment for me. So the worst three would be that Hulk, Iron Man 3, and the first Thor.
Yeah. Those are my bottom three as well.
Yeah.
But I put that one above because Iron Man 3, I think, is actually, in my opinion, the worst of all the MCU movies.
And I can understand that.
But that's, but I liked it, but it was just as the worst one. It's like, I like the Rocky movies, but like Rocky 5 is by far the worst one. You know what I mean? So, But yeah, I mean, I thought the comedy was great. It had way more comedy in it than I thought it was gonna have.
I think it was a bad movie. No stretch of the imagination. I just think it wasn't a great Marvel movie, but that is a high bar.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the individual movies,
It is
it was
middle of
just
the road for Marvel.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
for Marvel as
yeah.
individual ones, I mean, it was better than Captain Marvel. Like I said, it was better than um. I'll say I felt it was better than, and I liked Thor: The Dark World, but it was better than that one. It wasn't better than Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok was awesome, but you get what I'm saying? Like
I felt it was like on par with like kind of in the same realm of Ant-Man and Doctor Strange.
yeah. And there was a,
Which
and there
was
was
just bad. I would still watch either one of them if it came on TV. So
right.
I just saw,
I'll watch Black Widow again.
yeah, I just saw a theory that was put out there, which and people just being people, that Black Widow could have been way better, but they didn't want it. The people who were doing it didn't want it to outshine Captain Marvel so much, so they kind of pulled back a little, which that makes no sense to me. But
I think the issue with the Black Widow movie was the simple fact that Marvel just kept pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back because they were waiting for movie theaters to come out. And at the end of the day, even though it did come out in theaters, they still did the same thing that they said they weren't going to do. Is a reason why they kept pushing it back. They released it on what's called for $30. So, and which fans were saying, yo, like a year ago, do it. And I think the anticipation would, I think people were just like, finally it's here. You know what I mean?
right,
But it was,
right, you kind of missed the boat a bit.
yeah, yeah. It was like Marvel missed the boat a little bit on it because everybody, like, even last year, was still feeling the effects of the last Marvel movie. So,
Right.
you know what I mean? So, like, between Tony Hawk, Jesus, Tony Stark dying, and then in the Black
Tony Hawk. I I need to go back and watch my Marvel movies. There was some skateboarding with Tony
yeah,
Hawk.
yeah. He was in the background. He was hitting people to skate. He had a flying skateboard. He was
How do you think Spider-Man got around? It wasn't all webs.
right, right. But yeah, it gives you a movie to watch because it takes place right after Civil War, so it gives you something to watch
Right.
right to that. And I like the simple fact that they got a new Black Widow in there, so that's kind of dope.
So when are you going to the NFL Hall of Fame?
Sunday, no. We leave for Ohio Sunday. We'll be there Monday.
Are you going to get any video that we might be able to splice into this show for next week?
If you want me to.
Yeah, I guess we can love a video. I like the, two brothers minus one brother at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
And get me a Howard Carmichael Hall of Fame t-shirt.
I'll try.
And they'd probably be like, listen, he was a wide receiver. We're not going to give you a triple XL Howard Carmichael shirt. You'll go over there and get one of them linemen.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, we'll take some pictures and I'll shoot some video
Okay, cool.
of Eagle shit. I ain't recording no Dallas.
Don't take no video of you like taking a piss on Troy Aikman's helmet or nothing like that. Nothing incriminating.
Nah, damn it.
I'd say you can't do it. Just don't take video of it. All right, y'all. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week with a little bit of AJ's trip to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, peace out.
Peace.